I'm Christine.
And I'm Chris.
And today's lesson is titled Water Displacement. This lesson is designed for K through 5th science students. Now, water displacement means when an object is placed into water, the water level will either stay the same or rise because the object is taking up space within the water, and the only way the water can go is then up. Materials needed for this demonstration are
rocks, a car, 2 cups of water filled to the same level, a tray to catch any spilled water, index cards to label your cups A and B, a marker to label your water level to see how much it has risen, rubber ducks, and pennies. Our first object that we're going to test is a car. Now I want you guys to predict whether the car will sink or float. And then if you choose sink, I want you to predict how much the water level will rise. Now that you guys have predicted whether it will sink or float and how much it has risen or will rise, we're going to put the car inside the cup A. Wow, it's sunk and the water level has risen. Now I want you to record your observations on your piece of paper.
Alright, next we're going to test a smaller object, such as these pennies. We're going to do the same thing like we did with the car and place them into cup A to see what will happen to the water level. But think back to the car what happened and make some predictions for this trial. Alright, let's see what happens. The pennies also sunk just like the car did. Alright, please record down your observations before we move on testing the difference between rocks and a rubber duck.
Next, we're going to test a heavier object. The heavier object are rocks. Now, I want you to make a prediction on whether the rocks will sink or float. And then if you choose sink, how much will the water level rise? Instead of putting the rocks in cup A, we're going to put it in cup B. Let's get started. Wow! The rocks sunk and the water level rose a lot compared to the car and the pennies. Now I want you to write down your observation of how much the water level has risen and any other observation you have noticed.
Alright, next we're going to test a lighter object, such as rubber ducks. We're going to do just like we did with the rocks and place the rubber duck into cup B this time to see if the water level will rise or stay the same. Now think about the rocks. The rocks were much heavier than this duck. So write down if you think this rubber duck will float or sink to the bottom. Let's find out what happens.
Oh.
It floated. So obviously the water level pretty much just stayed the same because the rubber duck was so much lighter than the water. So from this trial, we have tested the difference between a lighter object and a heavier object with the rocks and rubber ducks, and the difference between a small object with the pennies and a large object with the cars.
Hope you had a good time.
Thank you.